I don't know, where we ended last time. With I think we were ending with John Cage, no?
Yeah, I can put him on.
That I went into the anechoic chamber at Harvard University. Anybody who knows me knows this story. I am constantly telling it. Anyway, in that silent room, I heard two sounds, one high and one low. Afterward, I asked the engineer in charge why, if the room was so silent, I had heard two sounds. He said, "Describe them." I did. He said the high one was your nervous system in operation. The low one was your blood in circulation.
That's John Cage.
I think it's true. It's true. It's amazing to see how he makes silence as an, how you say it, like an ensemble of noises. Actually, for me, what I remember of him is that he also, because he was doing those concerts and so on, that people did not like that, and that he was, for this famous concert in New York, that he was banned also. I mean, I don't know if he was really banned, probably not, but people wanted him to go out of the city. And it's also funny because it made me also think about New York and so on. Like, I think also that with Corona and COVID-19, that lots of people went out of the city actually to go to somewhere calmer and somewhere where they can enjoy more than in the city where it's crowded with lots of people and so on. But now that you were talking actually about Cage, I was also thinking a little bit about Europe and the United States and the differences, because for him it was also, I don't know him a lot, but for him was also a question of culture. Like, you had the European culture concerning music, which was very a little bit conservative, and for him always focused also on like more a piece, a music piece that exists and that has a beginning and an ending, and that you know that you're going to play this and that's it. And he said that in the United States it was not like that. There was more freedom and so on. So I was just wondering if this is true. Then I don't know which is
maybe the avant-garde at that time was actually there.
Yeah, but also
and this is the difference.
Yeah, but what I learned also was that, as we know that the United States, you have the indigenous people, and then you have the people who went to the United States, and like lots of them came from Europe also. And so I was just wondering how you see this. I was just thinking about this because of our work, that we also don't know what it's going to be, you see? And has it to be something? Do we need a work? Do we need a film? Or do we need, I don't know, do we need something, some design, I don't know, whatever? Or is it not necessary to still think in these old categories?
Silence is the emptiness, so let's go with that. Also, silence is the lack. I mean, the lack of something.
Actually, when I was in the exhibition today, there was also a film, lots of video, and one of them was also talking about Taoism. So, but it was a very political film. So it was it was about political movements in the 60s, France and Senegal. And but then it was also about Taoism, which is also like the, how do you say it?
It's called the way.
Yeah, the way to go somewhere. And this is what you also said. about silence that you needed before, like the silence is maybe the journey also.
I very like in Taoism, like the idea of like complementary elements. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and contradictory. I don't know if I'm saying that right in English. Um, yeah, that to have light, you need to have darkness, because if there was only light, you then could not see the light.
Mm-hmm.
So to have silence, you also need to have something to have against the silence. That's something that Tao Te Ching is saying, that there is no good or bad. There is no pretty or ugly. There is no, you know, actually, I prepared yesterday for our meeting chapter 4 from Tao Te Ching. And it goes like that: the way is empty. The way is the main, I mean, the way that people should take, but no one knows what the way is. And the way could be anything to anyone, so it's very mysterious. So the way is empty yet inexhaustible, like an abyss. It seems to be the origin of all things. It dulls the sharpness, unties the knots, dims the light, becomes one with the dust, deeply hidden, as if it only might exist. I don't know whose child it is. It seems to proceed the ancestor of all. So deeply hidden, as it only might exist. So this is very, does it
Mm-hmm.
exist? Or and also that it's empty but inexhaustible at the same time.
Mm-hmm. For me, what you're saying now and reading, it's a bit difficult because I try also in my work, for example, to look for something as it's a very heavy thing, but to look for something as the truth. And
Hmm.
so you could also say that there is no truth. For example, this is also what that you can't talk about that. When you were saying like you need the light, the light and the darkness and so on, I was also thinking also with John Cage in my mind, because in with when John Cage is making music or performing, then the listener becomes different. There it's the listener is not used because they to listen to John Cage, his music, and
To listen to silence, for example, right?
yeah, because it's difficult to listen to silence if you're not used to it. Yeah, and so and I was thinking also with this, like that you have silence and then you have, what do you have there? It reminds me of a performance that I organized, but I mean, I invited someone. We were talking actually about pain. It was about pain and pain that women and migrant women have. And so she did actually a performance, but she's not an artist, but she's a sociologist. And she started also like that we should talk or that about our problems as women. But the first thing to do is that, so you had to be with two, and then the other person, like for maybe 10 minutes or something like that. So one person needed to talk about something very difficult or something that happened in her life, which was very difficult. And then the other one only had to listen and could not say any word, even not something like, oh, really? Or oh my God, or this is really sorry to hear. You could not say anything, even not giving some empathy or something. And I think this is a little bit maybe also what could be important in this project also when we talk about silence. And because I think if I would say something about a problem that I have to deal with and the other person is silent, that it's also difficult for me when I am talking and the other one says nothing, even if you know that you have the time to talk about what you want to say, but then you try to listen or to see, to find something like that she's listening to me, or I don't know, you try also to listen even if the other person is not saying anything. You try also to because as you hear something, you try also to hear something. I was just thinking about that because of this because of Cage and Taoism and New York and all the problems there are at this moment, that maybe this is also a silence that people could give to someone else, and then the other people could also try to listen to the silence, because there is not a dialogue that you say, oh, do you know what happened? No, what happened? You know, there is no dialogue, but the silence can also be a partner in this dialogue. Even if it's not saying anything, it's saying something.